City of Stevens Point Finance Committee meeting, recorded February 8, 2021.
Up next is Finance. Chair President or President Chair Johnson, the floor is yours.
You may call me either. I've been called many things. So mom for the longest time. So I respond to that as well. I don't know who's doing minutes, Corey or Carrie, or you're prepared, you're ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, I'm
Okay.
ready, and I can call the roll whenever you're ready.
I am ready. Please go ahead.
Okay. Slowinski. Alder Slowinski.
Oh, here.
Shore.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Johnson.
I am here.
And Dalton.
Here.
5 present.
All right. Pardon me. All right. Second item on our agenda. And oh, by the way, we were called to order at 6:59. So just for the record. Item 2 is the authorization for the fire department to apply for an assistance to firefighters grant for the replacement of SCBA equipment. And I believe Assistant Chief Moody is present as he has taken this under his wing as one of his projects.
Yes, thank you, President Johnson. As many of you have seen the memo, the Stevens Point Fire Department is wishing to apply for a FEMA AFG grant. This is to purchase new self-contained breathing apparatuses, or what we call in the fire service SCBAs. Our current SCBAs were purchased in 2009, and their shelf life approximately is 15 years, if we can get 15 years out of them. Every 5 years, these tanks have to be rehydroed for certification purposes. They've undergone 2 rehydros, and we're on our 3rd current process right now. These tanks will reach the end of their shelf life in 2024. With that being said, under NFPA guidelines 1582, they will no longer be allowed to be charged for the fire service or used. Those are the only SCBAs we currently have within the fire department. So we're looking to move forward with obviously getting new SCBAs. We've gone out to three of the biggest current vendors, and we've come back with estimates in about the range of about $350,000. The AFG grant allows us to do a 90-10 split. And so with that being said, the city, if we're awarded the grant, would approximately have to come up with $35,000 towards the grant, not the total $350,000. So with that being said, the deadline is February 12th to apply for the grant. We have the grant about 98% completed and ready to go with the approval. And we've gotten very lucky over the past 3 to 4 years. We've been able to work with Croninweather Volunteer Fire Department, purchase additional packs and parts as ours have been breaking down and becoming outdated. So we're looking to improve our SCBAs with this grant possibility.
That's a lot of good information. Thank you, Assistant Chief. And it's always nice to hear that 35,000 is the option over 350,000. So much better to handle. So members of the committee, any questions?
This is Alder Slowinski. I would just move to authorize the fire department to apply for assistance to firefighters grant for the replacement of the SCBA equipment.
All right, we have a motion by Alder Slowinski. Is there a second?
I second. Alder Morrow.
Alder Morrow, I saw that the mayor had his hand up, please.
Thank you. Just for clarification, because I know everybody on the committees and city staff know what SCBA is, but It's a self-contained breathing apparatus, the breathing mechanisms. I know we have a tendency to get into the use of industry jargon and acronyms. I just wanted to be clear on that. And Chair President, Alder Dalton has her hand up.
I saw that in the chat finally. Thank you. Yeah, we fall into acronym land really easily. So apologies to the general public on that. And Alder Dalton, please go ahead.
Sure, just a quick question for Assistant Chief Moody about the competitiveness of this grant. Is it seem quite favorable that we will be awarded this, and is this something that the department has received in the past for prior equipment purchases?
It is a very competitive process, and we have written other grants in the past. Some we have been awarded. Sometimes we have run out of funding, or the grant process has ran out of funding before it could award us what we applied for. And then there has been a few that we have not gotten as well. So the Stevens Point Fire Department has fallen in all three categories where we've received the grant. The grant funds have dried up before they got to us, and then some we've been denied as well. But it is a very, very competitive process.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions from members of the committee? Members of council? Members of the public? And we have allowed enough dead air to give people time to respond. We'll bring it back. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the application, having the fire department apply for this grant, and we wish them the best of luck. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed would be no. Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you.
President Johnson.
You are welcome, and good luck, and get that pen really, really sharp.
We will.
All righty. Approval of response to the item 3, approval of the response to the Environmental Protection Agency affirming that the city did not cause the contamination at Piffner Pioneer Park. I don't know who's handling this. Director Kronowski.
Thank you, President Johnson. This summer, City Park staff was made aware of possible groundwater contamination at Piffner Pioneer Park in the area just south of the Cultural Commons. When the park staff and the contractor were in the process of constructing the rain garden, passerbyers noticed what it was essentially a sheen on some of the groundwater and the ground itself. From there, City Park staff was very cautious, fenced off the area, and had, at the time, San County environmental consultants come in and take a sample and run some additional tests. Those tests indicated that there were elevated levels of PAHs, which is essentially remnant of coal, oil, and gas, essentially. And really recommended that the city reach out to the Wisconsin DNR, provide them notice that, hey, we found this contamination, and essentially open what's considered a brownfield case, a BIRDS case for short. From there, the Wisconsin DNR reviewed additional information supplied to them from the city and stated that because we are the property owners, that we are the responsible party. And it should be noted that just because we're the responsible party per the legal lease of Wisconsin DNR doesn't mean that we caused the contamination. In an attempt to help reduce the financial burden on the city going through the phase 1, phase 2 remedial action plan, we reached out to Stantec, which is the city's environmental consultant for our brownfields redevelopment grant program that's actually funded through the EPA. And we're working through whether or not we could utilize that grant program to do what I'll call the upfront administrative work. Through that process, the EPA has indicated that, historically municipalities are not eligible for brownfield grants, not eligible to utilize that pot of money for property that we own, mainly because there's speculation that we may be the causer of that contamination. So through conversations with the EPA, they indicated that if the city affirms that we're not the cause of the contamination found at the park, that we would be eligible to utilize those funds to do the phase 1 environmental study, phase 2 environmental study, and then the remedial action report, among other things. So instead of Director Kramer and I just simply signing a letter saying, hey, we aren't the cause of the contamination, we thought it was appropriate to bring this forward to one of the committees, and we thought because of the possible financial impact that the city would have if we don't receive the grant, that Finance Committee would be the most appropriate. It should be noted that we do have to take care of this contamination to some extent. No matter what, whether we utilize or whether we're able to utilize the grant program, we will still have to hire a consultant. We will still have to do the phase 1, the phase 2, and put together a remedial action plan, or a RAP. From there on out, it's really going to depend if the city can apply for grants to take care of the contamination, or if through some of these environmental studies we can determine who caused the contamination, and then ask that individual or that company or whomever to chip in to help take care of the contamination issues. So really, this is just affirming that the city was not the causer of contamination through the Parks Department information, through the community. But Development Department's information, we cannot find any justification that the city would have been the causer of the contamination. So Director Kramer and I are very confident that the city is not the causer of contamination, and would recommend that the committee here tonight affirm that, so we can begin rolling through the EPA grant eligibility determination.
Excellent, thank you, Director Kronowski. Do we have suspicions, or are we going to wait until we get the phase 1 and phase 2 done on source?
I have my own suspicions, but I'm just going to keep them to myself.
Sure. I have my suspicions as well. So, especially if they're the PAHs. Questions for the director from committee members? From members of council? From the public? Bringing it back, I would entertain a motion.
Alder Dalton, I would move the approval of authorizing staff to provide this affirmation to the EPA as outlined.
I'll second. This is Alder Slowinski.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor to affirm the work that Director Kronowski and Director Kramer will be doing to say this isn't ours. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed would be no. Abstentions? Motion carries. Next item, let me get to the top of my agenda here, moving back and forth. Item 4, request for TIF funding for contaminated soil excavation and disposal at the proposed Mid-State Technical College Advanced Manufacturing Center. Director.
So this is actually one of the sites that we've utilized our EPA Brownfields grant on. When the Mid-State Technical College and Wayne Bushman and Sunset Point Ventures originally proposed the advanced manufacturing facility just south of the former Jones building. We had utilized this to do some of the initial environmental work, this grant program. So through a phase 1, Stantec did find that there was some contamination on site. One soil boring in the northeast corner that indicated a very small amount of PAH, and so wasn't necessarily a major concern for the city, but there was a stockpile soil stockpile on site, which did have some additional contaminations that were taken through hand sampling, essentially. Obviously, This, again, when contamination is found, the city goes through the proper channels. We notified Wisconsin DNR, who then provided Mr. Bushman a responsible party letter because he does own the property. Looking through aerial photos, it's pretty evident that the stockpile soil was added at a later date. We don't know exactly what year it was put there. There's some speculation that it may have been utilized for either the Hoover Overpass project or as part of the Coy Drive extension and cul-de-sac. But again, there's no true answer that we can find through our own records as to who put the stockpile there and what it's been used for historically. Mr. Bushman hired then his own environmental consulting firm, Metco, out of La Crosse, to come in and do essentially a verification of the Stantec. Metco thought that the soil boring in the northeast corner of the property was an anomaly, recommended DNR that it be considered as such because they were unable to find additional contamination there. But they did find the contamination in the stockpile. So as part of the Advanced Manufacturing Center, the city's quote unquote in-kind donation through conversations with our folks at Midstate and Wayne Bushman, Mayor Wiesa, myself, and the comptroller treasurer have agreed that maybe this is a good in-kind donation to take care of the contaminated stockpile. Metco does estimate that the cost to relocate and dispose of the stockpiled soils should be roughly $138,000, of which we would utilize the TIF for that. This property falls within TIF District number 8. For Finance Committee, it's my understanding that TIF number 8 currently owes the general fund some additional funds, but there's enough increment being generated within the TIF that even with the additional funds that would be utilized, the TIF would still close out well before its end of life expectancy. Staff would recommend approval. We think that this advanced manufacturing facility is critical to the future of our manufacturing base here in Stevens Point and Portage County. And again, very supportive of it.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Director Kanowski. Do we know how many cubic yard it is?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. I can get that to you.
Yeah, just curious how they calculated the costs. That's all. Let's just say I have some experience and was curious about how they calculated the disposal and removal costs. Because again, just out of professional curiosity and also double checking their numbers. Because there might be some other options, I'm just saying. So any questions for the director from the committee? From members of the council? Members of the public? Bringing it back to the committee, I would entertain a motion.
Alder Morrow, I would approve the request for the TIF funding for the contaminated soil excavation and disposal.
Thank you, Alder Morrow. Is there a second to the motion? Oh, was that your hand up, Alder Short? Yep. Okay, thank you. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. We have a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed would be no. Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Let me get back to the top again. All right, item 5 is evaluate one-time funding for the Stevens Point Alliance to promote downtown area events and activities. I'm going to predicate this. Of course, there were 2 notes from the SPA in your packet. And I'm going to do a mea culpa. This is something I had promised the Stevens Point Alliance that I would bring up as part of the budget process. Their request, they had sent, as you saw, a request earlier in the fall. I had told them that I would indeed do that, and I didn't. And so it was my failure to bring it forward as part of the budget process. And so I'm bringing it forward now because of my inattention to that detail, because it really should have been a part of the budget discussion. Stevens Point Alliance, of course, is the same sort of organization as the former Downtown Business Alliance. It is a 501c6, I believe, and you're familiar with many of the things that they're doing. I've talked to a number of businesses downtown that are a part of the Alliance, and they've chosen to be a part of the Alliance because they find it to be direct. They see their investment as in membership as directly benefiting their businesses. So anyway, the request came in. It should have been in budget. Right now they're looking for some bridge funding, I'm calling it. Of course, Director Kronowski is spending a lot of time working with the downtown folks to build the business improvement district. And we do fund outside agencies that are of a similar ilk, 501c3s and 501c6s, to do the good work of their organizations. So I promised I would bring this forward. It is on the agenda. I've enjoyed working with the Stevens Point Alliance, and I've enjoyed many of their activities downtown. We've got another challenging year ahead of us. The bid, the Business Improvement District, will not really yield any outcomes until 2022. This would be a one-time funding of whatever is the decision of the body if they wish to do this. So enough of my yammering on and on. So open it up for discussion for members of the committee.
This is Alder Slowinski, and as I've stated in the past, I think this is a great organization downtown. I've been involved with the past Downtown Association, and I guess I would be in support. My only question is, and just as President Johnson just stated, I mean, there's no dollar amount here, and obviously the next question is where would it come from? So I would be in support of helping them out, as far as how we hash this out and decide on how much.
Excellent. Thank you, Alder Slowinski. Before that question is answered, I will go to Alder Dalton. She has her hand up, and maybe it's similar so we can have all the questions answered. Go ahead, Alder Dalton.
It is. I was just going to ask Comptroller Treasurer where we could find funding for this, and if the letter looks like is requesting up to $20,000. And I think if there's someone here representing the Alliance, I'd like to hear from them about what their plan, if their plan is to truly use up to $20,000, and if this is a one-time thing, hopefully maybe some plans for continuity if the position is not able to be funded smoothly from 2021 to the future years as they maybe put together the bid for the future.
Thank you, Alder Dalton. Is anyone on from the SPA? Apparently not. So I will go next to Alder Jennings. Anyone else from the committee have questions? And I'm going to let Comptroller Treasurer Laddick respond to the questions, and then I will go to Alder Jennings.
Sure. So the funding source at this point in the year would have to be from contingency. Mm-hmm. So we do budget $100,000 a year for contingency. So that's where it would have to come from. I think it is, worth noting, I think sometimes people misunderstand. They think that contingency is like the last $100,000 that we have, which isn't necessarily the case, but it's $100,000 that we have in the operating budget for things that come up. You might remember last year we used some fund balance for some various things as well, but I'm not sure that we're going to have extra fund balance for the end of the year for 2020. So contingency would be my recommendation.
Thank you. And I just want to add, when I talked with a couple of business owners, of course, they'd like up to the full amount. And the sense that I got was they would be grateful for whatever they could get to help fulfill the work that they'd like to do for 2021. So, and that's up to this body. So Alder Jennings, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, President Johnson. As Alder for District 1, I represent a large portion of the downtown. I regularly attend their meetings. I know that Alder Zarazua has also attended meetings, and I attend a lot of them. I want finance to deny this request. The two members of the Alliance who have repeatedly brought this request forward have never provided any specific information about how the money will be used, expected outcomes, and how this will be measured. We have downtown the Stevens Point Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is the employees there, and Sarah Brish are experts on marketing. They are trained in marketing, and they at any time will provide metrics and data on the effectiveness of their marketing and their target. The Downtown Alliance has never been able to do that. They are not made up of people who that's their career and expertise. The Downtown Alliance does not represent all of downtown. It represents the members who are paying into the Alliance, which is about half of the downtown businesses and property owners. So a question is, one might ask themselves, why does only half the downtown pay dues to the Alliance? There are some very successful businesses, for example, PABS, who has never even been in the radar of the Alliance. So it tends to be those that are favored in the group. The Alliance has been paying monthly for somebody to do their website and also, quote, marketing on Facebook. If you'll notice, their website has nothing on it, and the Facebook work, pretty much anyone with a cell phone could do what's been going on. And I do follow this, and I have been paying attention, and I have strong opinions about this because I have attended the meetings. I've been frustrated, as I think staff has. I want to speak for staff, but I've certainly been pilloried by members of the group on more than one occasion. So I will vote against this when it comes forward. And if the city is going to put money towards something, please put it towards the Convention and Visitors Bureau, experts who actually know how to market. And I don't know if Director Konoski is willing to say anything, but he also attends these meetings as well. So I have a strong opinion on this, and I have probably made myself pretty clear. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you. Other members of, well, I think we did the committee. Other members of council? Oh, Alder Zarazua. I was going to say Supervisor Zarazua. Wrong meeting. Go ahead.
Thank you. As Alder Jennings mentioned, I do also go to the meetings for downtown. I understand all of downtown is not represented by this one group, but they really have put forth events and not asked anything. Well, I won't say they haven't asked. They haven't gotten any financial funding from the city for those. So the parades that we all associate with downtown, the notes at night that they did this past summer. I think these are things that contribute to having a vibrant downtown, and it doesn't dismiss what anyone else is doing. It's a way that we can show that we support the efforts that they're putting forth. And understanding this is a really difficult year for everyone, but our downtown is so critical, the health of our downtown for the whole city, that I really think this is important for us to consider. I also think that while there are very strong voices in the alliance, I think they're strong advocates, and they've been asking for support and feel that they're not getting it. So I don't think that this can't go without parameters of saying, here's what we want to see this money used for. But I also don't know, like, to what extent we do that with other groups that receive funding. How tight do we watch over what they're exactly spending it on? So I would hope that we're considering this, and so that we can continue to see these great things happen in the downtown, especially the notes at night that could maybe have more performers. And just one other thing with that is, we've talked about COVID and how it's decreased our events. We've talked about not having too many people in one space. The Notes at Night has offered having an outdoor space, but it's also, for the long term, could be something that then we have multiple venues in the city of music and options, that people are spread out instead of everyone in one area. So I think that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your input. Other members of council?
Mayor's got his hand up.
Yeah, I'm looking through the kind of list to make sure I'm not missing hands. Thanks, Alder Slowinski. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. There's several things that I find very concerning about the fact that we're considering this and thinking about doing it. First and foremost, we are not solely obligated to support businesses strictly in the downtown. And my point is that we're looking at, I talked to members of the Southside Business Association, arguably less organized, but still an organized group of business owners, most of them local mom and pop shops on the South Side, that could very much use some additional funding to market their areas. Places like Belts and Carl D's and Skip's Bowling and Gold Key Motors and everything along that South Side that is not included in this. To be fair, we should represent that larger group as well. Same with the East Side or the North Side. I'm sure District 1 could use some marketing dollars, or Frank's Hardware out on the East Side. Well, maybe they're the best hardware store on the planet, so they don't need the marketing. But regardless, this is a small group, as Alder Jennings mentioned, a small group representing a portion of some downtown business owners. And I would challenge any alder person to talk to some of the members or people that are not members and find out why that is. They don't represent even the entire downtown. We have, as a city, done many things specifically for downtown already, including working with them to get the dock installed. We put up all the labor for the ice rink, and now this year's many of the materials, and that involves clearing the ice rink and making the resurfacing, which has been a huge success. The business owners paid for the lights, the Edison lights that are up downtown, but city staff was responsible for putting them up and maintaining them and paying for the electric bill. We do many, many things already downtown. As a matter of fact, this weekend, we had crews come in on overtime to make sure that the piles of snow were removed from the downtown area. We didn't do that on the South Side or the East Side or the North Side. So we already do a very large amount of things specifically for the downtown. And don't get me wrong, I think those dollars are well spent. As Alder Jennings said, they have had a marketing company that they've been paying for out of their dues. I think they recently changed it from Elephant Touche over to something else. But they're already doing this with their dues. We have extended the extension for alcohol, which arguably includes more police enforcement. We're working with them to create that business improvement district. And President Johnson is absolutely right. You're probably looking at 2022 if things go smoothly. Later if it doesn't. But as Alder Jennings suggested, they're looking at this for, and they specifically mentioned tourism and marketing and promotion, which is literally what the Convention and Visitors Bureau does. I would submit that if this group is looking to fund some marketing dollars to downtown, that those funds be directed to the Convention and Visitors Bureau and enter into an agreement. I know the council has been very specific, especially with the Business Council and some of the other non-city agencies that we fund, that we want agreements in place so we know what we're getting for our dollars. The Convention and Visitors Bureau, I know, is ready to do that, and they will market all of downtown. You can put the caveat on there that if you're going to provide $10,000 for marketing purposes, that it be specifically done to the downtown, and they will be able to enter into an agreement to do so. I think the things that the Downtown Point Alliance, Stevens Point Alliance has done is great, but it is not completely selfless. The parades that were mentioned, people pay for entry into the parades. That helps pay for the organization and the people's time. As a matter of fact, actually, I think all the volunteers do the parade organizing and maintenance. So they're not completely selfless, and they do specifically benefit certain businesses. Notes at Night, fabulous. If you want to continue that, perhaps maybe work with Create, who already does Levitt, to provide entertainment and provide those resources to groups that are specifically specializing in those types of events. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Before I go to Director Kanowski, you have, I'm sorry, I got something in my, I'm going to let you go ahead. Go ahead, Director Kanowski.
Yeah, thank you. I in general agree with Alder Jennings and Mayor Wiesa. If the sole purpose of the additional funding is for marketing, we have the Visitors Bureau in the downtown area, which has a much further reach as it relates to attracting tourism into the downtown area. I do consider it a bit of an equity issue where if we're providing funding to the Point Alliance and that marketing individuals only promoting the 40–50% of the businesses that are in the downtown that are also members of the Point Alliance, I've got some concerns. The whole purpose is to make the whole downtown a more viable place to be and to spend money. The events that they've put on have undoubtedly been significantly impactful to the businesses in the area. If the Point Alliance would come back and say, hey, we'd like some funding for some of the events that are downtown, I think that staff would be more supportive as opposed to saying we want some funding for marketing. I agree. If we're going to spend money in marketing, we might as well put it where the experts are, and that's with the Visitors Bureau. So echoing a lot of what Alder Jennings and the mayor said as well, just in general, marketing, send it to the professionals, events, maybe that's something that we could fund in the future.
Thank you, Director Kronowski. I'm sorry, something terribly wrong with my eye. I'm sorry. Other members of council? Members of the public?
This is Alder Slotsky again. I'd like to speak when I get a chance.
Oh, sure. I was going to say something, but as chair, I always like to give preference and deference to the committee members. So I'll please go ahead.
Thank you. Again, like I stated, I think this is a great organization. I'm very disappointed that no one came to the meeting tonight to kind of pitch or give their pitch on why they need this and what it's going to be for. I'm assuming they were made well aware of this was going to be on the agenda.
Yes, they were.
But again, I am disappointed, and I guess this SPA has come to the council. They came last year at budget time in 2019. They came and they were shot down. They obviously presented something in September of 2020, and it was, by mistake, not put on the or not brought forward for during the budgets. I'm kind of maybe sensing maybe there's a little frustration here. Maybe they just feel that that they're basically everything, their requests are falling on deaf ears. I don't know the whole story on the membership of the SPA, why only certain people are in it. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe it's because they don't feel that it's worth anything. But anyway, I don't know. But I have been downtown to multiple events that have been put on by the SPA. The parades and what have you. And I mean, I do think that they bring a lot to the city. If the South Side wants to, if they have a request, I mean, I have never seen a request from the South Side. So, I mean, if they don't request it, how can we even discuss and consider it? We've donated or given a lot of taxpayer dollars to create. I've yet one time to use something from create. But I have participated in the events from the SPA. So, again, I'm very disappointed because they're not here to give their speech on why they need this money. And I do think that it's a entity that should be at least considered for funding. I don't know if it's something where we can put this off and allow them to come forward with some sort of presentation. I guess that's just my thoughts. Thanks.
Thank you, Alder Slowinski. Appreciate that. Once again, as chair, I will give deference to members of both the committee and council. I will hold off my remarks until I see Alder Jennings, her hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. I just need to reply to what Alder Slowinski said. There was a very large and very, very successful event created by Create downtown this winter. They had a craft sale and huge turnout. The Alliance paid zero attention to the event. They made no publicity about it, no remarks about it. So yeah, Create is doing things, but they seem to not be on the radar of the Alliance. So I just wanted to reply to what Alder.
All right, thank you. Yes, it was a very successful winter market, and my backpack was full of many things purchased from that winter market. So actually it was, my back hurt by the time I got home. I think the point is we have a lot of great groups doing a lot of great things. And I agree with Alder Slowinski. I would love to see something for the Southside Business District. I think with the Central City Market and that redevelopment, we've got some things going on the South Side. It would be great to see this. I think what this boils down to is we have a lump of money that taxpayer money that we've been giving out to many different non-city agencies. And they've all done wonderful things. And this gets to my point is the accountability of that money that we're sending out and setting up a program, a grant program, and make it somewhat competitive or using metrics that we would like to see. And we haven't fully fleshed that out. We kind of did with the Business Council, but we probably haven't done that as well as we could. And I think we do need to explore that. I agree, Alder Slowinski. I'm disappointed that no one from the Stevens Point Alliance is here. And I'd love to give them the opportunity to have their time on the public forum here and ask them to come to next month's Finance Committee meeting to at least plead their case, take questions, and even respond to some of the questions that may be a bit concerning on the part of some. Is there any problem with my doing that, asking them to come and at least have that conversation? I will assume quiet means yes. I will reach out to them. They were aware of it. I don't know why they weren't here, but I do want to give them that opportunity. And also I want to, when the public comes to me and asks for something to be on the agenda and it's within reason, I think it's important for us to provide them that opportunity. So I will work with the SPA to be at our next Finance Committee meeting. And my understanding, Mr. Mayor, is that we do not have a closed session. Oh, wait, we have one more item.
That is correct, but
I have
Alderman has his hand up.
something.
Oh, I had both of
Yeah,
you talking at once.
I would like to echo what Mayor Weezer said, plus the Convention and Visitors Bureau is also based downtown as well. It moved within the past couple months, and with them being downtown, I would hope that the Downtown Alliance and them could maybe work as one to try to work something out, because it'd be in both of their best interest anyway.
Thank you, Alder Morrow. Is that what you were trying to tell me, Mr. Mayor?
That
Yeah,
is indeed.
And do you know what? His hand that's up is right on that thatched roof. And so it was virtually invisible. So if it would have been in the middle of the ocean, it would have been fine. I would have seen it. All right. I will work with the Stevens Point Alliance then. Thank you. Item 6 is the approval of claims paid, and I would entertain a motion.
Alder Dalton, I would move approval of the claims paid.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? We have a second by Alder Shore with his hand up, real hand up. Any questions about the claims that have already been paid by members of the committee? Members of the council? Members of the public? All right. All those in favor of approving the claims paid, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed would be no. Abstentions? Motion carried. And now we do not have a closed session. So therefore I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Morrow
I'll second.
and second by Slowinski. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed would be no. And we are adjourned. It is 7:46. Everyone have a lovely evening. Please stay safe.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.